Okay, tell me if you've heard this before. The Baltimore Ravens run the air out of the ball, play great special teams, and get timely stops on defense. And it only took the first game of the preseason to expose something that many Ravens fans and many people that follow the team already knew.
Our line couldn't pick up a backside bandit on max protection. All week long, we work on the calls over again. You are not fucking focused.
And could it be that the Ravens have found a diamond in the rough?
It's the future of the team.
Many expected big things out of some of the Ravens rookies, but there was one who truly shined on this night. And there were some words of wisdom given to a rookie regarding Ravens royalty. So in this video today, we are going to talk about the good and the bad that happened in the Baltimore Ravens' first preseason game. But first, let's get it. So yes, everybody, it is here. The first preseason game is in the books, and the Baltimore Ravens defeated the Indianapolis Colts 24-16. There were a lot of positives that came out of this game, but there were also some negatives. Everything didn't go as planned. But all in all, as things go, we got more than what we expected when the Ravens took on the Colts. So we're going to dive into this game and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And if you watched the game last night, you saw that there were two players that stood out above the rest. And unlike some other teams in the NFL, the Ravens did not play a majority of their starters, but you did have some guys sprinkled in here and there, and it was not all good. There was one in particular who was not a starter, but showed he deserves more reps this upcoming season. And of course, that person is Keaton Mitchell. All during OTAs, all during training camp, all during the joint practices, we saw a return of Keaton Mitchell and that speed, that element that he brings to the game that we don't have right now. Derrick Henry is fast, Justice Hill is fast, but none of them have Keaton Mitchell type speed. And the one thing that we saw last night, the one thing that I saw last night was him being able to break tackles. Being that he is a smaller back, sometimes those guys get hit and go down immediately. But you saw that Keaton bounced off of players, making plays, showing that ability. He had an explosive 23-yard run and capped off the first scoring of the game with a 22-yard touchdown, which was a thing of beauty. And I know it had to feel good to him getting back on that field, making plays like he used to. Now, there is going to be one issue when it comes to Keaton Mitchell in the upcoming season. And that issue is, where is he going to get the carries? When is he going to get the reps? When you have Derrick Henry, when you have Justice Hill ahead of him, how are they going to fit him into this game plan? How many plays? How many carries are you going to allot to him each and every game? I know sometimes it depends upon the flow of the game, how things are going, situations, but they need to get this young man on the field. He can take it the distance on any given play, and not just in the run game, because he can catch the ball and also be very effective in the screen game. Last season, the Ravens were #1 in yards throughout the whole league. And then you bring back a Keaton Mitchell, and the possibilities are endless. So it's not really a problem. And if it is a good problem for the Ravens to have. And then the second player, the second star of this game, one that brings excitement to me. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little disappointed when the Ravens didn't draft Jimmy Horn Jr., but we got the consolation prize, or maybe the real prize, when it comes to Lajohntay Wester. Early in camp, he was fighting to become the punt returner, the starting punt returner for this team. But I think now he has solidified his spot on this roster. He has locked down the punt returner job. Even if it had been for not what he had done during this game, you could just see that there is this explosiveness. There is a big play just waiting to happen every time he touches the ball. But fortunately for us, we got to see things very early. The second time that he touched the ball, he returned a punt 87 yards. And it wasn't just a straight line punt return. He broke some tackles, he dodged some people, he set up his blockers. He told the Ravens and the league, I know exactly what I'm doing. I can impact this game, and I'm the guy that you've been missing, the guy that you've been looking for.
I had a great joint practice with them a couple days ago, and I came close to breaking one in practice. And after that, I had called my dad, and was just like, I feel one coming tomorrow. Like,
Now, Tylan Wallace has been very solid on punt returns. I think that he adds another element. He brings a certain swagger. Keep saying that he's very twitchy. I don't really like saying it, but if you watch him, you can just see. I think they called him Lajohntay Wester. I'm not going to give him that just yet, but the young man is very exciting. He also had another punt return for 17 yards, and not only did he do that during special teams, he led the entire team with 2 catches for 41 yards with a long of 30. And if you look at the stat sheet of what the Ravens did behind Wester, it wasn't too much. He had the most receiving yards in the game. And not to be outdone by the both of them, you had Rasheen Ali, which was a pleasant surprise to me.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
He looked explosive. He looked decisive. He looked nothing like the rookie that we saw on the field last season. Ali rushed 9 times for 31 yards. He had a touchdown where he broke a few tackles. He even had a 69-yard kickoff return. He is trying to put pressure on the Baltimore Ravens to keep 4 running backs on this roster. That is going to be a difficult thing with what the Ravens have to deal with at other positions and carrying extra people in case of injury. But Rasheen is making his case. Don't give up on me yet. I have something to offer this game. I've been in the playbook. I've been in the gym. I'm preparing myself to be a Baltimore Raven for the 2025 season. And I believe him. Then we go to the defense. To me, they had an up and down game.
And when I'm talking about defense, goddammit, you're dumb enough, we made it simple enough. We made this shit real fucking simple.
They provided a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They made some timely stops. And overall, there were 3 gentlemen that surprised me during this game. We were on stream last night talking about David Ojabo, and I guess he heard us talking about him, and he went out there and got a sack, knocking Anthony Richardson out of the game. You had Adisa Isaac, who had a sack as well. He was met at the quarterback with rookie Mike Green. Now, Mike Green wasn't credited with a half a sack, but he was there, and he had a hand on the quarterback. And Green is showing that explosiveness that we knew was there. If you actually watched him play last night, you could see that something special is growing within this edge group. Now, that's going to put a little more pressure on David Ojabo to perform so that he can remain a Baltimore Raven for the upcoming season. But iron sharpens iron, as they love to say, and hopefully this gets the best out of both players, because we all know, we all can see it. Even in the limited amount of snaps that Mike Green played, he is that dude. And one of the Ravens OGs compared him to Elvis Dumervil. And if you remember Elvis Dumervil from his days in Denver, then coming to the Baltimore Ravens, he was that guy. He was a little undersized, but he got it done. And it was said that he has that same bend, that same explosiveness to get to the quarterback that we all can clearly see. And I think with a little more experience and a little more time, especially playing with the other starters, these things might free him up to have a very exciting year. And the last person that surprised was Jalen Armour Davis. He was all over the field. He looked a lot more decisive than he had in years past. Now, earlier in the season, he went out with an injury and we thought all was lost. He wasn't going to come back, and that was just it for him as a Raven. But he has a certain resiliency with him. And he's showing, I need to be here, especially with some bad news that happened with Bilal Coney getting injured and being lost for the season.
Extended knee, torn everything, bloody nightmare, he's out. He's out for how long? He's lucky Easter.
And with all offseason, with the Ravens having certain little nagging injuries and Coney being out for the year, this may force the Ravens' hand. They may try to overcompensate and keep more defensive backs than they really should, just in case somebody goes down and they have that replacement already on the roster. And of course, when you have the good, you also have to bring in the bad. And the bad for me had to have been the backup quarterback play.
Damn it, we got the 3rd string quarterback that ain't gonna produce shit.
That was truly atrocious. The 2 quarterbacks, both combined, had a 28.1 QB rating. Cooper Rush started the game. He went 2 for 4 for 16 yards. He was very inaccurate, looked indecisive. The reports are that he has not really looked good all camp, sans maybe 1 or 2 days. So what are the Ravens going to do with the backup quarterback position? Then you have Devin Leary, who did not fare much better. He went 3 for 12 for 43 yards and was off on a lot of his throws.
Who said you throwing to the receiver? Or you got some other shit on your mind?
There were times where receivers were wide open and he just missed the mark, and I mean badly. Tez Walker got open and should have gotten a touchdown. He overshot him. He overshot Tez, I think, another time on the sideline. Dayton Wade flashed open early in the end zone, and Cooper Rush just didn't see him. We need Lamar Jackson to remain healthy throughout this entire season, or we may be lost. The backup QB situation right now is atrocious. And yes, it's one game, but throughout camp, these two guys have not looked good. And the next guy, I'm going to just put him in a bad category. He didn't have a bad day per se, but it's just the perception of all the things that are going on. And that guy is Tyler Loop, who in his first attempt in the preseason missed a 46-yard field goal. Now, he has been pretty good throughout training camp, but now we're starting to get into game situations. And for your first kick, your first attempt, post Justin Tucker, to me, it just wasn't a good look. And it was inside of 50 yards. He did redeem himself and make a 52-yarder later in the game, but seeing him in live action, we just don't know what we're going to get from him throughout the rest of this regular season. Hopefully, he can turn things around in these last two preseason games to kind of give us a little bit of hope and have us relax a little bit when it comes to the kicking game. The next guy is Jordan Stout, but not much has to be said about him. To me, he's not been that guy. He's been a true disappointment since the Ravens have drafted him in the 4th round. I don't know how the organization feels about him, because after this season, he is a free agent. Are they going to try to bring in somebody better, or are they going to give him an opportunity to redeem himself? I think if you haven't done it in 4 years, I don't know if it's coming. Pause. And also, I was not too happy in this game about the Ravens defense. Understand, a lot of the starters weren't there, but some of these backups are going to be counted on during the season. Buchanan, he's a rookie that we feel is in a battle with Trenton Simpson, but there were times during the game where he looked lost in coverage. Now, I don't know if it's him not knowing the plays, him being in the wrong position. It's going to get better, but right now, as of this game, which we're just talking about, this game, the backups have to do better, because the starters aren't going to play the entirety of the season. They're going to sub people in and out, and you have to be ready. But the team that's trotting out Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, I don't expect them to give up 251 yards passing and then allowing another 126 yards on the ground. But it's the first preseason game. I'm not tripping. I just know this Ravens defense has it in them to be better, and I expect more from them. I don't care if it's first team or second team. This is the Baltimore Ravens. We are built and known, and everybody wants us to be a defensive team. So go out there and stop people, especially when you're going up against guys that aren't the caliber of some that you would see week in and week out throughout the AFC. And of course, I say the very best of the very worst for last. And that had to have been Daniel Faalele. Yes, he's lost weight. He could become more agile, so he could become better at his job. But last night, it was not it. He gave up a sack, and not only did he give up a sack, as usual, he ended up on the ground. It was not a good look for a starting guard in the NFL. And it wasn't just him. Rosengarten had some trouble. Like, this whole offensive line was exposed by this Indianapolis defense. And I know all the starters were not there, but this just belies a problem that we've seen and a lot of us have known about. And I've said all off season, and you guys told me, calm down. This offensive line is good. Indianapolis defensively, to me, are not world beaters. And one-on-one, they made some of our starting guys look silly. Now, I'm not worried about Rosengarten. He's solid. But Andrew Voorhees, he wasn't great. Daniel Faalele, he wasn't great. And the depth behind them isn't great. And the Ravens did very little this offseason to bolster this offensive line. Yes, they signed Noteboom, who looks terrible. You saw him at practice, you would know that this guy isn't it, and there's a reason that the Rams let him go. Yes, they drafted Emory Jones Jr., who they drafted injured, and we've seen nothing from because he's on the road to recovery. They brought in Carson Vincent and Garrett Dellinger. And to me, this is extremely funny because there's a publication, and I showed y'all in the video, he said that Dellinger was the guy who could possibly lead us to letting Tyler Linderbaum go and be his replacement. Then came around 3 weeks later, and that same publication said, this guy is in danger of not even making this roster. The Ravens have not improved this offensive line. There are still free agents sitting out there that the Ravens can sign. Don't know if this game was indication enough that they need to look elsewhere just in case these guys aren't ready. Yes, they can improve. Yes, they can get better. But what if they do not? This offseason has proven if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, these backup quarterbacks ain't doing shit. So the Ravens have to keep him upright and healthy for the entire season. And the way that you do that is you bring in competent guys that can play. I understand that you like Daniel Fa'alele. That's your guy. He's a Raven to you. He's one of the boys. If he is not the best option at right guard, replace him. If Andrew Voorhees isn't that guy at left guard, replace him or at least bring in competent competition. Because Ben Cleveland, he struggled a little bit last night. Yes, the hustle was there. He recovered a fumble. He has not been looking good throughout all of this camp. So if these two guys aren't ready, or if these two guys are ready and they get hurt, who is going to come in and replace them? We do not have the depth throughout this offensive line to sustain us. All I'm saying is, Baltimore Ravens, go out there and just at least bring these guys in for a workout just in case things don't work out. And finally, Davante Adams was on the Pivot podcast and they were asking him about Travis Hunter and him wanting to play both ways on offense and on defense. He's like, it's just not sustainable. There have been guys that played special teams and offense or special teams and defense, and they were worn out. It's just not feasible in this day and age, especially with him being 185 pounds. He said, what are you going to do when you have to tackle Derrick Henry? You go and play the Ravens and you see Derrick Henry coming at you. What is this 185-pound defensive back wide receiver going to do? And this was his response.
You know, once you get out there playing both sides and now you got to tackle, you got to tackle Derrick Henry with that frame. Like, I mean, he's athletic as hell, but the athleticism, he better do some ninja shit if he want to use that to get him down.
I just thought that this was a hilarious story. Some ninja stuff. Like, who comes up with these things? Hilarious. But yes, Travis Hunter and the rest of the league have to deal with Derrick Henry in the 2025 season. Can the Ravens utilize him enough? Utilize Keaton Mitchell, utilize Justice Hill during the playoffs to finally get us to a championship. Step one is now complete. The first preseason game is over, and now we move forward, and it's on to the next one.